What is up, team? I got another book coming at you for my 52-week book challenge. This one is called Budgeting Sucks. It is written by Garrett B. Gunderson and Dale Clark. This review is a little bit longer than my other ones have been. That's because this book is not out yet, and I wanted to go a little bit more in depth into the topics. So if you're into money, you're into viewing money a little bit differently, maybe you want to create some wealth for the future, this is the book for you. Check it out.
Whoa! All right. I am quite big. That's okay. We'll get out of there. There we go. Okay, so talking about book number 9, which is Budgeting Sucks by Garrett B. Gunderson and Dale Clark. I was, again, promising, I know, that I was going to read or do Alter Ego next, and again, didn't happen. I got on a financial books roll sort of thing, so I am talking about a third financial book in a row, which was really, really interesting again. This one is not available yet anywhere as of right now. I got it sent to me because, like I said in the last book, I'm working with a couple financial experts, and they got this one sent to me to kind of start thinking about budgeting and obviously thinking about it in a little bit different way. A lot of this money stuff is actually a lot about mindset. So let's get into it. There are two different kind of mindsets like I talk about here, scarcity versus abundance. I talked about them a little bit in the last couple books that I talked about as well. And you can see the differences there. Abundance is definitely more, it feels more optimistic and feels more empowering, I guess. So scarcity, you're kind of scrimping and saving and hoping for retirement, and then your life is going to be beautiful, whereas abundance is living the life that you kind of want to right now, while at the same time being responsible and saving for your future. So, escaping the budgeting trap, at the bottom here, there are 6 tips for mindful cash management. So, pay yourself first. That's a big one that pops up across many financial books. You got to be accountable. So, you're in charge of your own finances, obviously. You are responsible for that. Having the right tools, automate it. I just started using mint.com because of the recommendations of this book. It brings all of your accounts into one special place. And then you have to be honest about your situation. So making sure that you are staying within your means and not simply trying to go out there and impress other people. Build strong relationships. So build trust and search out relationships with people that are going to help you grow. And then ask yourself better questions. So instead of asking things like, what can I take? You start thinking about things that are like, what would it take, right? So those are the couple differences there between scarcity and abundance. Basically, yes, scarcity, you're thinking about consuming. Abundance, you're thinking about producing. What can I do for the world? Financial independence versus financial freedom. So this one, again, is a good distinction to make. Financial independence means that you have enough recurring revenue coming in every single month. It's kind of passive income, and it's enough to cover your basic expenses. You don't have to do or have to worry about income in this scenario because everything's covered. You could maybe take a big shot at your dream business or whatnot. Financial freedom, however, is money that is making sure that money is not the primary reason why you do or don't do something. So you could see in the last slide that scarcity, there people are really worried about money, right? They are thinking about that's going to be the determining factor as to whether they do something or not. And that's usually based on price. So down here, there's a couple different ways that we need to look at and kind of change the mindset when it comes to money. So people that look at scarcity always think about price first and probably only ever think about price. They just see how much it costs. Can I afford it? No. Okay, I'm not doing it. And they kind of lose out on a lot of things that way. Whereas if you switch to kind of a value-based or abundance mindset a little bit more, you look at the value first. So if the item is going to give you a lot of value, personally, this is person dependent, of course, but if you think it's going to give you a lot of value and make you more productive or make you happier, and it's worth it to you, then you're going to buy it. Then next you think about cost, and then finally you think about price last. So cost is the net economic impact. Price is simply what you pay. Those are the couple distinctions there. And as always, You are your greatest investment, so invest in you. So I would say anything that is actually investing in yourself, like maybe you buy some education, you buy an education course, sorry, you buy some books, you invest something back into your business, into a product or service or software or machinery, anything that is going to make you more productive in the long run. It's way better to pay a little bit of a higher fee up front and not have it break down, or get a really good education, not just pay for something that's really lame, or not really lame, but I guess something that's cheaper just because you think you can afford that. So this would be a scenario where you would want to spend that little bit extra money and get really, really good value. And then you put that back into yourself and your business, and it pays off in the long run versus just thinking about price. Hidden capital comes from mental capital and relationship capital. So you maybe just usually think about financial capital, but mental capital and relationship capital play big time into what financial capital is. So we talked about pursuing relationships in the slide before. Yes, pursuing relationships is important, but if you don't have anything to offer that relationship, there may not be much of a point in that person continuing that relationship, right? Because you're not providing any value to them. Likewise, if you just study and maybe increase your mental capital, but never get out there and start to try to meet other people, then you aren't developing any relationship capital. So you might get stuck there because you're trying to do everything yourself. So seeking out relationships and also improving yourself is huge to increasing your overall financial capital. Chapter 3, saving money without budgeting. So these are some ways that you can create some more cash flow for yourself. And you don't even need to set up a big spreadsheet or anything. These are some ways that you can go about it. So budgeting your time, not your money. Time is way more valuable than money. So we need to make sure that we're taking care of that first. Another thing you can do is improve your credit score. That's going to give you access to maybe some better interest rates, different credit cards, stuff like that. So that's going to help you out big time. Paying less on your loans with the 3 R's, which are reallocate, renegotiate, and restructure. We'll talk about those a little bit later. Structuring your insurance properly. So that means making sure that maybe there aren't any double coverages on there that you don't know about, or hidden fees in there. Saving on taxes. So again, maybe structuring your business properly so you can deduct certain things. And then analyzing your investments for any hidden fees. So sometimes, let's say you are a person who loves the stock market and you invest in there. Maybe you have a portfolio manager and there might be a lot of fees in there that you aren't even sure where they're going or where they're coming from. So double check that. Increase expenses and grow wealth. Sounds counterintuitive, but it is possible. So what we do is talk about 4 different types of expenses. We want to get rid of destructive expenses. So these I've talked about before as well. They destroy your wealth. We want to cut and eliminate those. They don't do anything to help you. So we want to cut those. We want to manage our lifestyle expenses. Okay. So we don't want to ever borrow to pay for those. This is the stuff that's like fun things. We obviously want to still enjoy our life while we're here. Don't need to just wait for retirement and when we're older and we've saved everything up and now you can enjoy life. You want to be able to live it while you're younger and maybe have a couple more opportunities and you have some time. Maybe you don't have kids and you can go do things with your significant other or your friends. So you obviously want to be able to have fun and live a fun life while you're young. You want to use them wisely to create the kind of life you want. Again, use the value, cost, price in that order to determine what is worth it for you. And that's always personal. Some people have different ideas of what value is to them, and that's perfectly fine as long as it is aligned with you and what you want. You obviously have some protective expenses as well. This is more along the lines of insurance and stuff like that. You want to protect your own property, of course, and your human life value. These type of expenses are going to give you peace of mind, and then maybe you can be more productive because you don't have to worry. So last one is productive expenses. This is one that you actually are going to want to increase. I talked about this in the last book as well. But in order to increase your profitability and cash flow, you might need to put a little bit more money into it. And why wouldn't you, right? If you were going to put $1 in and you're going to get more than $1 out, you might as well just keep pumping money into there as long as it is within your means, right? Because you're going to get back more than you put in. Next chapter is chapter 5. He talks about the fastest ways to pay off loans and the safest way to pay off loans. He uses the cash flow index. So if you can see the formula there. If you have a really low balance with a higher minimum payment, then your number on this index is going to be a lot lower. You want to pay that down as soon as you can because it's going to free up your cash flow, or free up more cash flow for yourself. Versus if there is a really high loan balance, let's say like on a mortgage, for example, which usually have a lot lower, well, not low minimum payments, but the ratio is lower, right? That's a more efficient loan, and we might want to like stretch that one out because it's going to create more cash flow for you month to month. Versus, I mean, a lot of people think about just paying off their mortgage as fast as they can. But if your mortgage payment is going to be $2,000 a month versus, let's say, $1,200 a month, you've freed up $800 of cash flow a month right there. So you can do a lot with an extra $800 a month. So 4 C's to better cash flow: improving your credit score, having some collateral. So maybe you have some mortgage that you can use as collateral. You have good cash flow reporting, so your financials are organized and everything like that. And maybe you've also got some connections. Like we said, relationships are huge. So building some good connections can help you create some better cash flow as well. Optimizing your cash flow, we talked about reallocate, renegotiating, and restructuring. So this would be talking about helping maybe clear up some loans or modifying some stuff that's in your investments. There's a lot of different things you can do. He's got a great resource here for talking about credit, and again, great resource here at his website to talk about interest and how you can help restructure stuff and improve your credit. All right, next he talks about the 4-step mindful cash management strategy for paying off loans. Build a savings first. So this is something that everybody should have, a savings account that has 3 to 6 months worth of expenses in it, where it's immediately accessible. You're going to need it right now in a lot of cases. So let's say something like shit hits the fan, you need some money right now. So that's what you need that account for. Then next is using that 3R method, like we talked about. You can free up a lot of cash flow month to month just by restructuring your loans or renegotiating the interest as well. You maybe are paying the same minimum payment, but for less amount of time, of course, if you can change your interest rates. Like you said, using the cash flow index, you want to pay down one loan at a time. So quite often they talked about how a lot of people are paying off. Of course, there might be things that you have to do multiple. You might have a car payment and a house payment, but let's say that you have another loan on the side. You want to focus on paying down that loan as quickly as possible. So you make the minimum payments on those other loans, but you want to tackle that least efficient loan, the most inefficient loan first, and instead of overpaying on all those other ones, let's say, to try to pay them all down equally, incrementally, you focus on one, free up cash flow as soon as you can, and that's going to help you out. Lastly, be cautious about locking up money in an asset. So what he talks about there, kind of what I just said, you don't need to put extra money into a mortgage to pay it down faster, right? Especially if you have other loans. You can put that extra money towards something else, those more inefficient loans, or maybe you put it towards creating other assets. Chapter 6, the wealth architecture. So again, it's about perspective, looking at your abundance versus scarcity mindset. Step number 2 is knowing your purpose. So purpose refines and creates your focus. So if you don't know what your purpose is, it's a big question to ask, but you need to invest in what aligns with your purpose, because that is going to make all your investments make more sense. You're going to take way less energy. You're going to be invested in it mentally and physically because you enjoy that stuff. You know what you're talking about. And that's going to fuel you. If you don't know anything about the stock market, that's maybe just draining your energy. Or if you don't know anything about real estate, that's maybe not the best investment for you, because it's going to take a lot of time, a lot of energy to learn how to do all of that stuff. Next is plan. So this is going to obviously give you a power to avoid distractions by saying no. So once you have a purpose, you make your plan, you say, this is what I'm going to do, this is what I'm not going to do. You have a way forward. Talk to professionals, as always, like I've advocated the whole time I've been talking about this money stuff. You need a team that is on the same page as you, because definitely, like, I certainly don't know everything, and I'm sure you don't either. So talk to professionals who can help you out in all the different areas. Getting a coach is always a good idea. And then products is the last one here. So don't think about products or any sort of investment until you've got all of this other stuff figured out. Only then can you be able to, like, okay, now I know I love real estate, it's going to be real estate, or it's going to be this stuff, or it's going to be building businesses and helping people build businesses. That is completely up to you, but you need to have the groundwork in place first. Chapter number 7 on how to become a better investor. So this again is talking about your sole purpose here. So you need to know that, and that's going to help you decide what to invest in, because risk is a great quote. Risk is in the investor, not in the investment. A risky investment to someone might be a completely safe investment to somebody else. Like I said, that real estate stock market example. If I know a lot about the stock market but nothing about real estate, then the stock market isn't nearly as risky of an investment as real estate would be. So it totally depends on the person. So again, you can check out some more resources there. There's a DNA investor worksheet, which is going to help walk you through it and figure out what type of investor you are. If you want more risk, if you don't, that sort of thing, what you're good at, what you're not good at. So it's important to start asking yourself some questions like this. What's important to you? What do you know about? What would you love to be involved with? What makes you tick? And we'll go into that a little bit more here. So here's the breakdown of it. Finding your investor DNA is based on your values, of course, and then he walks you through how to do that. So find your top 5, and then you outline the your DNA statement, investor statement, as I'm a person of blank. So you say what your top 5 values are. Maybe that they are like integrity, trust, honesty, love, humility, whatever they are. You write them out. Next one is core competencies. So what are you good at? What gives you energy? What do you get complimented for? What do you currently get paid for? All that sort of good stuff. Then you categorize those things into what you're good at, what you're a little bit better at, and what you're awesome at. Like what's the best things that you were good at. And then you help outline that investor DNA. But I live my purpose by sharing blank. So whatever that top skills, there's going to be 3 columns: good, better, best. Whatever you're best at is what you are is what's going to help you live your purpose. Part number 3 is what drives you. So this is asking things like, what am I happy doing? What am I most creative at? What excites me the most, right? So you list those sorts of things out, make a list of that stuff, and then again, I'm a person of blank. So the last one here is, what is your core focus? If you could only do 3 things, what would they be? Where have you pulled away from? That's important because you were distracted. How do you say yes? What do you say yes to but should say no? So this is going to help dial in where you should be focusing on. And then you finish off your DNA statement by saying, I stand for blank. So by the end of it, you should have, I'm a person of blank. I live my purpose by sharing blank. This can again help fill in that first part there, and I stand for blank. You're going to have a very clear set of values and a very focused area in which you can likely invest in, because you know what you're good at, what fuels you, what drives you, and what gives you energy. Chapter 8, how to accelerate your investment income. So cash flow is the way to go. Why? Because basically, if we save, banks want you to focus on this accumulation and sticking with it for the long haul. Banks themselves focus on cash flow, so why shouldn't we? The net worth is often seen as like gold standard of how wealthy somebody is. But this is an awesome quote. Net worth is only potential energy, like a boulder perched on top of a hill. It can release a lot of energy when it rolls down, but that's only once. And when its potential energy has been used up, it's done, right? Can't happen again. Whereas cash flow is this cyclical thing. It's stuff coming in month after month after month. The energy is constantly being generated like it would be in a hydroelectric dam. Chapter 9, cash flow banking. This is talked about this concept a little bit in the past couple books as well, but basically it's a personal banking system that's going to help you cut out the bank, the middleman, and it will help you earn interest rather than paying it. You save on taxes, you kind of rig the financial game in your favor, but it's done legally and ethically. You need to be talking to the right people in order to do this. Step 1 in cash flow banking is something you can actually start doing right now. So there's a lot of things in these books that as I'm reading, I'm thinking I need to start applying a lot of this stuff because it's good to obviously learn the knowledge and have it in your head, but there's some things that you need to start applying right away. So each book that I'm reading now, I'm going to be giving you something from it that you can start applying right now. This is one of them. Start creating a wealth capture account. So this is going to try to be your goal is to try to get 18% of your income to be transferred into this account automatically. 15, there's 2 different accounts here actually. So 15% is going to go towards one account. We'll call this your wealth capture account, sorry. Part 2 is your healthy or your wealthy account or living wealthy account. So that's going to be an account for guilt-free spending that you can spend on whatever you like. So that is going to be 3% of your income that you put into this living wealthy account. If 18% feels unrealistic to you right now, just start somewhere, okay? Start somewhere. In this case, progress is better than perfection. Step number 2 is maybe a little bit tougher to set up. Step 1 there was super easy. You can set up a couple different accounts and have money pour into them automatically. Next one is enhance your savings. So this is setting up a whole life insurance policy or cash flow insurance policy. Again, you need to be talking to the right people, right, the professionals. But basically, there are 7 big benefits of this stuff, which I kind of talked about in those other books that we discussed, the last 2 books. There is consistent guaranteed growth in these, so it's not affected by the stock market. Again, that's kind of the second point here, guaranteed against loss. Most plans, you have a guaranteed 4% return plus percentage of dividends. Tax favored status, so basically you don't really, if it's set up right, you don't pay taxes on money that you take out of this policy, like you would need to pay taxes on, let's say, an RRSP. It is not able to be touched by creditors, so they can't, and it's untouched in bankruptcy as well, so it's not part of any legal issues. The policy doesn't have to be taken out on you. So let's say you're a little bit older and you want to take your policy out on your grandkids. You can do that. That's definitely a possibility. You can also take it out on business partners and executives. This step number 6, is it provides more than just the death benefit. We talked about it, how you can utilize it in your lifetime. The death benefit is guaranteed, however, so when you do die, you are going to get the sum of money that you've been insured for. You can also overfund the policy, and then that helps grow that death benefit as well. However, if you're simply looking for a death benefit, you could go with term insurance. He talks about that as well. However, that term insurance, like he says, is rarely ever paid out. The way I understand it anyway, if you are paying for term insurance, yes, you are covered if you die, but you're only getting that payout if you die. So it almost sounds like you're betting on yourself dying within the next 10, 20, 30 years, however long your term insurance is. Otherwise, you're not getting that money. Whereas you're paying money into this policy, a whole life policy, and the death benefit is guaranteed. It also allows you to buy your net. So you're going to be paying into this policy. As soon as you lock in and you make that first payment, you are guaranteed, if you die, X amount of money when you die. So as soon as you make that first payment, you're insured for X amount, and then that will grow over time as you overfund it, plus you get the returns and dividends. So it grows steadily. Chapter 10, we're eliminating budgeting, because budgeting sucks, with a value-based spending. Budgeting mainly focuses on what you can or can't spend or do. We talked about that. We're trying to redefine the definition of wealth. So it's not necessarily just building up a big bank account. I love this definition. It's the ability to experience life to the fullest sort of thing. When you budget, you scrimp and you save. You basically live poorly just so that you can be a grumpy millionaire later, I guess, because you've developed all these habits that are associated with saving and scarcity. Why do we do that? Why wouldn't we? Why wouldn't we want to live enjoyable life right now, sort of thing, right? That's where value-based spending comes in. Like I said, we focus on the value first. What kind of value is this item or purchase going to bring to you? You focus on enjoying your life right now and saving for the future at the same time. Again, thinking value, then cost, then price. Mindset is huge. That value-based spending, what is it? Like I said before, you focus on value first. So it's buying what you want. Then you take into consideration, obviously, how much it's going to benefit you and how much you're going to enjoy that purchase, how much fun you're going to have. It's also going to align with your perspectives and your values. Mindful cash management, at the same time, is having that banking system in place and knowing the basic flow of your money. So you can't just be spending, obviously, you got to be spending less than you make. Otherwise, that value-based spending can get out of hand just like any other sort of spending. Stop budgeting and automate your cash flow. That's huge. So we want to pay yourself first, like I talked about. Set up that living wealthy account. So that's the one that's going to be 3% of your income is going to go into that account. You need to set up a review system. So somewhere where you are either weekly or bi-weekly checking your finances, making sure that we've got those all the different types of expenses looked after. We don't have any destructive expenses on there, and we're maybe optimizing our productive expenses and checking in on the lifestyle expenses and on the safety expenses or the security expenses. So that's insurance and stuff like that. Include your children in some capacity, because that would be awesome to pass down this same sort of mindset around money onto the next generations, whereas I believe our current generation is mainly spreading that scarcity type mindset. Creating stability and liquidity with 3 different types of accounts. So here is how that mindful cash management strategy works overall. So you get your check for the month. You have whatever income you have what's called that peace of mind account. So that is going to be that account that has your 6 months worth of expenses stashed up in there. That is your short-term thing. If you needed cash quickly, you would have it for anything unexpected that happens. Say you lose your job, you move, you can't find work, the coronavirus hits, right? So you've got money in there to be sustained for a lengthy period of time should you need it. Step number 2, or account number 2, is that wealth creation account. So this is, haven't talked about yet actually. So once you do have that 6 months saved up, the way that I understand it, or even a 3-month if you want, but you take the flow of money from that you would be putting into that peace of mind account, let's say, and you transfer it into your wealth creation, you transfer into a wealth creation account, which is basically an overfunded life insurance policy. And if you don't know much about that, like I said, talk to someone who does, because that sounds to me like there's a ton of advantages there. Sorry, my dog's coming. It's going to whine at you for a little bit. And the third account, like we talked about already, is that living wealthy account. So this is where you get to spend guilt-free. You get to have some fun. It's super essential to your well-being because, like I said, we don't want to be living miserably while we're here or while we're still working our regular lives. We don't want to just wait for retirement. What's the point of living for 40, 50 years, working your butt off and not enjoying it, right? So I love this mindset. Makes a lot of sense to me. Breaking it down, here's the main 7 points, yes. Pay yourself first. Invest in yourself. You are your greatest asset. Manage your risk by investing in things that you know and you understand. So we're not trying to go out there and invest in all these different types of things. You need that focus. That's going to help manage your risk. Plug the leaks. That means making sure that we don't have money going out to maybe financial institutions. You're not overpaying on interest, stuff like that. You're not overpaying in fees. Number 5, creating economic independence, which again, that is having enough income coming in through cash flow so that you don't have to worry about it. Building your team, so that again is relationships, getting people that think along the same lines as you, and becoming a better investor. So we gave you some tools and some tips in this one on how to become a better investor, making sure you're investing in things that align with you and your values and your goals and what you know, what fires you up, all that sort of stuff. So have a good day, everybody, and I'll see you on the next book, which might be Alter Ego. You never know.